Hello and welcome to our finale of Survivor Africa for the Couch Potato Queen Survivor Recaps. Yes, I'm your host, Josh Mendelson, and I am with Sam Henson. How you doing, Sam?
I am wonderful. I am so excited to be talking about the Survivor Africa finale. And I too, believe it or not, have no tattoos or piercings on my body. I cannot wait to talk about that question.
Oh, we are ready to talk about the controversy, and I'm happy you know about it. That's going to be big tonight. Big discussion here is if it was fair. All right, but first, I definitely want to bring on our extra special guest today. This is a friend of mine, a friend of ours from RHAP, originally class of 2020, and now they have their own show on RHAP. So we have Mari Ford. Hi, Mari. How are you?
Hi, Josh. Hi, Sam. Hi, everybody. I am glad to be here today. I'm excited. Watching old school Survivor. Yeah, it's interesting.
There's a lot to discuss.
Well, Mark, you were telling me before this show that you Survivor wasn't as much you were more Big Brother. So yes. What is your thoughts on watching these old school seasons?
So the funny thing is I didn't get into Survivor when it first happened, in the 2000s. It wasn't until my junior year of high school when I had just moved to the DC area. I had no friends in the middle of high school, and I would just go home and study. And on one of the channels, they would just play nothing but Survivor. At that point, it was 2006. So maybe
you know the outdoor channel, the outdoor channel.
Yes, the outdoor channel. Yes, they were playing nothing but Survivor for back to back all day, and I just finally turned it on one day, and that's when I started catching up. And so then once I had caught up, I think the first season I watched those really good seasons. It was China, Fiji, Micronesia. I forget the exact order, but you know what I'm saying.
Seasons of Survivor.
Yes. Cook Island. I think it was Cook Islands, Fiji, China, then Micronesia. So those are the first ones I watched live. So going back and watching old school Survivor after not watching it for a decade and a half, it's mind blowing. It's just so different. And of course I've been watching since then, and I watch all of the Survivors, but the names and the people and the stuff just doesn't stick in my head like Big Brother does.
Yeah, it's because it's repetition is what helps you remember things with Big Brother, because it's on 3 days a week. You're watching the live feeds. It's all this nonstop that you know everyone within by the time the second episode comes on, you're like, oh, I know that person. Oh, there you go, because you're watching them on the feeds as well. I'm a feed nerd as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But with Survivor, it's only once a week, so it's you have to build up, get to know these people.
I didn't even think of that. That is such a great point. Yeah.
Amazing. All right, well, with that, we're going to go ahead and get started on the finale. So right into things. They just voted off T-Bird, which I'm sad about because I loved my T-Bird. Makes you want to slap your mama.
She is so nice. Yeah.
I have my quotes for the season. So my T-Bird quote is "makes you want to slap your mama," and my Kim Johnson quote is "wait till it gets to my breasts." That's. I said it 15 times. I've counted in the last 2 episodes. I'm obsessed with it.
Quotes.
Some quotes the whole time. All right, so starting on Motomaji, Lex is on to Tom after hearing from T-Bird that Tom had wanted Lex out. So Lex is now hurt by the situation. He's telling Ethan he's going to approach Tom in the morning, so it's going to get rough and we don't know what's coming. Lex eventually he confronts Tom, and Tom basically denies the comment that he made to T-Bird, but he does admit to what he said to Kim Johnson. So we have some tension in paradise right now. Mari, what's your thought on what's going on with the Final Four?
So my thought here, I'm coming from a Big Brother perspective. Whenever you get a vote against you, the last thing you should do is always harp on it. And we saw you guys have been covering it, but Lex has been harping on that one vote for God knows how long. And to me, that's just always a surefire way to just stir the pot and then get your name out there. But because this is still early Survivor, people are still trying to play with that quote integrity, and you guys can tell me because y'all are the ones who have been, you know, watching the older seasons up until this, but it feels like there was always that backlash from like Richard Hatch winning the evil route, then the whole Tina and Colby thing. It went to this moral high ground place, and that's where Lex was coming from. Lex was coming from the stupid moral high ground place. People can target you, Lex. I'm sorry. Like, this is still a competition. And so it's just funny to get back to that type of Survivor where people are still trying to be like honorable, I guess. Like, what?
Sam, I'm sure you can respond to that for sure based on us watching past seasons.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because Lex acts very godlike this season. And I think part of the reason I think is there's some of the strategic elements in terms of format. I think back then, especially in Africa, there were so many tiebreakers that were decided through votes. And so I think every vote that Lex received, he just felt more and more vulnerable to potentially, I guess, a tie somehow breaking out, and then him just being the de facto boot because he has votes. So he's someone that likes to be in constant control, and he loves everything to go exactly his way, down to like having one vote. Obviously, like if you get a vote now, you just brush it off because it doesn't matter, and like that will only make your game worse. But back then, Lex felt that he had a lot of political capital, I guess, to spend on really going on manhunt for who voted for him.
What I like to call the Lex witch trials. That's what I called it. In the episode, we went on a search for them. Me and Chantel did. We were like, what's going to happen if this person votes against Lex? He was just going crazy if everyone voting for him. And it was the one thing he didn't even get it right with Kelly G. He thought it was Kelly G, and it wasn't even her. It wasn't even Kelly. And we lost a great contestant because of it, because I loved Kelly G. But
it's a completely different game. Like Sam mentioned, like I do think that it's better that the past votes don't come to haunt you, because it's true. That's a total different game. If I want somebody gone down the road and I know that there's a sure vote on somebody else, I can just throw a vote to the person I want gone down the line, and then, you know, I can make it manifest later down the road, a tie or something, and they're gone. So I like the fact that that's gone. I think I like that fact, because it's just a different game. You know, I mean, these early seasons are just completely different games from Modern Survivor.
Because it's not about strategy as much, especially in like Australia, not back in Borneo. It's more about like the wilderness. And in Africa, it's about the desert, that they're in the African desert and they don't have water and they're starving and they're thirsty. Like, it's not about as much of the strategy. You get more of it in Africa than you do in the previous two seasons, but you really the peak of it really starts about now. In Marquesas, the next season is when you get a lot of strategy, and that's like a really good season. I am so excited to talk about Marquesas, like, because it's one of my underrated favorite seasons, because there's a change in editing, and I've talked about this like a million times with the way they edited people of color in past seasons. Once you get to Marquesas, you have Sean Rector on there, and he's like, he's saying you edited Jervis as the lazy guy when he wasn't. You edited Clarence as just wanting food, and like, not today. And that's why Marquesas is a great season, because you have Sean Rector on there being like, not happening. Me and V are not letting this happen. And they got very far and are both icons.
Icons that CBS never called back.
Never called back. And
I wonder why.
It's so awful. And that's the one thing. And you even got it with Clarence. We were just talking about it in our last two episodes as well. Like, Clarence was like this really funny guy, and we never got to see that because of how they used to edit back in the day. And it's so unfair back on that. So
so
we're ready.
About Lex and Tom.
I know we're going on to it. That's why I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm ADHD, and I'm like, I'm ready for Marquesas.
Me too.
I'm ready for it. Ready. But honestly, we have Big Tom confirming he never, you know, said what Kim said he said, or what Teresa said. He confirmed what he said with Kim. He says he doesn't need to shake Lex's hand to confirm they are good, because he's set with their alliance already. Kind of a bad move, Tom. Kind of just being like, I don't care, I'm not doing it, but really
we're down to 4, y'all.
Come on here. And, you know, going into the challenge, it seems now that Lex and Tom are good, possibly, and that Kim J really is at the bottom of things. Going into this challenge, it's obvious Kim's getting voted out unless she wins immunity.
Yeah.
Which gets to our immunity challenge and gets to a very controversial question in the immunity challenge as well, which we'll discuss. So our immunity challenge is the classic Final Four challenge on how well the castaways know the other castaways they've been playing the game with. They did this challenge the first, I think, 5 seasons at Final Four. So it's something they did every season for a while. You see in later seasons they start to lose like the repetition of some of these classic challenges, like the gross food challenge, whatnot.
Right, and the auction. I feel like the auction is like every other season now.
Yeah, the auction is a great one too. I love the auction. But yeah, they used to do it every season back in the day.
Wow.
So the Final Four challenge starts. Tom surprisingly starts off doing well. I didn't think he would do that well. Like, was anyone saying, were you surprised with how Tom was doing in it?
See, I've been saying this. Tom is smarter than I think people think he is. Like, Tom is a doofus, but he's also people who are really open to talking to Tom. I love this challenge. I think it's really great that we have the challenge in front of the jury too. I think that's a really kind of fun wrinkle to it. It's like if you miss something, like if you miss a question in front of the jury, like that could mean jury votes. Like there are just many layers to this challenge. But yeah, I think I really thought from the beginning Tom was off to a great start, and then we get to the controversial question.
We do. Well, some of these questions that we find out Kelly G likes manipulating men. Lindsay was first to hit the target in that episode 6 immunity challenge.
In that picture, wasn't that really kind of freaky? I felt really weird.
I said you have kids on TV. Children, yeah.
Frank's children were on like their picture. I think it was a picture of Frank's kids. No, it was a picture of T-Bird's kids. T-Bird's kids. I was like, that looks kind of creepy.
Did they show that at like a reward challenge or something?
How are they going to know that? Maybe they look like TV. I would have no idea.
Weird.
And then Brandon has a tattoo on his back of a spider. Cool. But now we get to the question about having no piercings. Now, the correct answer was Kelly, but Lindsay also had no piercings. So, Sam, why don't you explain this a little bit better of what happened?
Well, I believe it would have been a tiebreaker. It would have been a tie at that round because Lex answered Lindsay. And Jeff Probst said no. I want the full story because at some point later on, production, I think, asked Lindsay, or Lindsay came to production and said, I actually have no piercings or tattoos either. Production didn't know that at the time. But Lex was correct and therefore should have either went to a tiebreaker, potentially gotten immunity from there. It's like probably in terms of production screw-ups, like one of the bigger production screw-ups in Survivor in this early history.
And apparently, allegedly, they paid Lex out for it after.
They paid Lex and Tom out, I think.
Yeah,
because
they
of
gave
it.
them extra money. There was something similar in Big Brother. There was a controversial one in Big Brother 9 with the
not the hamsters.
With the hamsters. It's similar to that, I think. But I wonder if people got paid out for that one.
Sharon got nothing. We know they didn't Sharon get anything for that when she should have been the winner. She should have got $500,000.
Mar, we have the same opinion on those things. I feel like we like the same people. Okay?
Yeah.
Well, there's also rumors when it comes to this that another consolation prize was putting Lex and Tom both on All Stars. That's like how they also kind of made it.
Really?
That's also a rumor floating out there. Yeah.
But to me, like it was kind of obvious that they would put all 3 of them on. I thought Kelly G would be on too, but maybe not. I don't know. The Tom thing comes up every episode on like, do we like him? Do we think he's a bigot? Do we like him? Do we think he's a horrible person?
Option two.
And we were talking about it. It's just it's hard because it was kind of like with Rudy. Rudy was like the same thing, and 20 years ago he was this hero, and now you're looking at like he's making some racist comments. He's making some anti-Jewish comments. He's making some homophobic comments. He's making comments against women. He's taking every minority and making comments about them. So it's
didn't Rudy get the growth edit though? Did he actually grow? Because what I remember is him growing and saying like, what's his face taught me a lot did he actually grow or no?
No, he at the end of it, he was like saying like he's queer, but I'll never talk to him again. Like it was.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Rudy and Tom are kind of like the same thing. And my only like defense on Big Tom is because I really like Lex, and I know Lex is a good person. He's progressive. Like he's 20 years ago.
I like Lex. Yeah.
Everyone does, and yes, he was labeled the villain, but I genuinely know Lex is a good person. And if Lex thinks Big Tom is like to this day his best friend, hopefully 20 years later, I'm hoping that because this is 20 years ago that Big Tom has grown. I hope,
Big Tom,
but I don't know.
He said some stuff. I was like, "This is y'all teddy bear. This is."
I know.
Has anybody found Rupert's still good? Right, we're still good with Rupert, right?
Yeah, we're all
okay. Good. Like
Rupert.
They try to make Big Tom into Rupert. Luckily, Rupert came along and saved us all because.
Agreed.
I never watched this live, so I had to just go from the edits, and I'm like. To be quite honest, I was like, I don't like half of the people on this cast.
Yeah.
Like, to be quite honest, I agreed with what Frank said at his original tribe when they did that had their original split, but I hated him. But I love T-Bird. So I
hated Frank.
Right. I think T-Bird, Ethan, I like Kim Johnson. Like they all came off pretty well, but a lot like Brandon did not come off well. Clarence didn't come off well, even though I don't feel there was anything that he actually did.
He did nothing really bad. He ate an extra cherry.
Yes.
Like
and I thought when they first had approached him about it and he said, "Okay, I'm sorry, my bad," but then they started going in on him about it. I was like,
come on, this is a grown man.
Yeah.
One person and one person, I guess, that was not given like the best edit that we really like. We love Lindsay. We love Lindsay. We do. And we interviewed Lindsay. We had her on our show, and she's just such an incredible person and such a good spirit, and just how she's grown and made her own business out of this, where she teaches women across the country how to mountain bike, and just what she's done with it is so cool. And I really like her. I think it's like a biased love for Lindsay. I think she's great, but this cast, there were a few people on it that you don't want to root for.
Yeah, I didn't realize like how my opinion on Lindsay changed until we got to the reunion part, and she did say like she was very surprised that she was cast to be the villain and stuff like that. And so when she had said that, again, I believe the weird editing for Clarence, so I will definitely believe the weird editing for Lindsay. But as I was watching, I was like, "Ooh, I don't like her at all." You know what I'm saying? Like,
she's a mess.
Am I surprised that she was edited wrong? I am not surprised at all, and I will take y'all word for it. To be quite
awesome.
Honestly,
I think we see this like time and time again in these early seasons. Is that all of these guys get just like such passes and such hero edits for like. They definitely hide a lot of what they say, and they never cast anything they say in negative lights unless your name is Frank. So all of these guys, I think that's the problem with. I like Africa a lot, but my problem with Africa is that all the people I didn't like are the people that got to the end. And like I could find some things that I like in some of these people, but then like all the people that I really rooted for and really enjoyed are either out before the merge or get really cut shortly after that. So this finale is kind of a tough sit.
You have to admit that Thailand is worse, though. Thailand is way worse.
Are we going to get into this debate again? Are we going to piss some people off on Twitter?
I don't know.
But I don't know if you saw that when they did a review on Thailand.
I watched the thing. We don't have to get into Thailand because we're not on the Thailand season yet, but Thailand is way worse for all the likable people that are fun to root for go pre-jury, and you are left with like just a final five of like. And on to Amazon. Okay. All right.
Okay, back to this tribal. I think one thing is weird is that right after the immunity challenge, we go straight into voting. Did you guys catch that?
Yeah.
There was not even a question asked. Jeff was like, "I got to get out of here. I have a date tonight." I don't know what he was doing, but he had to get out of there.
On to the vote. Kim won. Y'all thought you were going to take down Kim at 4. Not today. Kim wins. You guys have to turn on each other. Have fun. Go to vote. I think it was obvious who was going to go with this 4, though. I didn't think it would be Lex. I thought they would vote out Tom, and they did. What are you guys' thoughts on Tom getting 4th?
I think it's just that, again, that high morality bullcrap that they had at those early survivors. Like, it was like, I don't want to vote out Lex because I want to prove myself against him. No, he won like 4 immunities. Vote him off. But I get it. This was so early in the process that I think a lot of this was how people perceptions back home, and they didn't want to, mess up their perceptions back home. So I'm not surprised. Lex laid the groundwork for Tom to go. So it was time for him to go.
Absolutely. Sam, did you see it coming?
Yeah, I saw it coming. And it's one of those things where there's so many times in early Survivor where it's like, oh my gosh, if only they had like hooked up and then voted together, but then they end up voting for each other. And it's like, Tom votes for Lex. Well, in reality, Tom should be hoping Lex forces a tie, because I think that would have been beneficial to both of them. So it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, if Tom's going to vote for Lex, then obviously Lex is going to vote for Tom. And then Ethan and KJ are super close. They're going to vote out Tom too. So it was like a done deal once KJ got immunity.
See, and that could have been a great way to be like, oh my God, we accidentally got out Lex because I didn't know.
Exactly. I think in the early Survivor, there was no explanation as to what the tiebreakers ever were. Like, they never knew what the tiebreakers were round to round. And so like, it wasn't as clear cut as like, okay, obviously like you would want to force a tie or something that it is in modern Survivor. Like back then they just had no idea. They didn't want to go to the tie.
Yeah, and next season is the Rocks, right? Marquez
is the Rocks. And I'll tell you though, voting on Lex in a blindside would have been really fun in a final tribal council, because we all know what happens when you get a bitter Lex. Because when you get a bitter Lex, thunder, lightning, hurricanes, tornadoes are going through. We all watched All Stars, people. We all saw what happened. Bitter.
Do we have any closing thoughts on Tom? Josh, do you have any closing thoughts on Tom?
You know what? I'm happy he's gone. Ding dong. Tom is gone.
Yep.
Let's go.
Next. Thank you, next.
All right. So next we're back at camp. Lex is up all night with diarrhea. We actually find out after the show. The reason why I'm saying this is we find out after the show he had some sort of parasite that he had for like 5-6 months. That almost killed him.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was some serious stuff he got, but it was really bad. That's the only reason I bring that up before they go into their torch walk. So he's like, let's go into this torch walk while Lex can barely keep running to the bathroom.
Stand up, yeah.
I don't know how he got through it. But I actually thought this torch walk was really cool. Like, of all of them, when they did this, like, they get the blessing from the elders. They get to pass through the torches and all the eliminated contestants. And then they're washed with, like, a goat fat and blood type substance. Yeah. And they have, like, a full, like, African tribal ritual. And I was living for this. I was like, I want to be there. This looks so cool. What are your guys' thoughts, Mari?
Yeah, this is the thing that we've been missing from the modern Survivors since, CBS is now have their own island. Like, we just don't get those rituals. We don't get those Ethan in the hacky sack moment where, the moment where Ethan decides to dedicate his life to his charity and all of that. We just don't get that anymore. And it's really unfortunate because even though like some of them, like the torch walk with the people's names and flash and stuff, sometimes that's a skippable moment, but but the actual like ritual and appreciating the culture and be opening to culture and showing other cultures on TV, it's just something that Survivor used to do so well. And you really forget how big that was, how like big that played, especially with the modern seasons. So yeah, it is sad that we lost that element.
I loved it. I thought it was so cool. Sam, did you like the torch walk?
I love the torch walk. I love everything I love when they just put as much local cultural elements into a Survivor season. It's just like, it's always done with, I feel like, a lot of care, and like, it's never like, oh my God, like, look at how crazy this is. It's like very matter of fact. And I love a rites of passage. And I really wish this is something they would bring back. This may be unpopular, but I also love when they go around and say something about each person. And I love when they have like nothing to say and they're like, that person was really great. And then that's like all they say. This was a different one where we got sound bites from everyone about, I guess, what they learned and reflected on.
Yeah. It makes me miss some of like the pre-jurors that went early that had some good one-liners. Like you got a few really good like one-liners from like Linda.
Linda,
Yeah.
yeah, I love Linda.
She got one more Mother Africa mention in there.
Mother
I loved
Africa.
it.
Yes.
Mother Africa, the homeland. She like my favorite one was about, like the immunity idol. She said something like it was great. She's like, the immunity idol knew that we were having conflict and didn't want to stay. It was incredible. I loved her. Like again, obviously Silas just getting being Captain America, Colby 2.0, and just getting swept behind by that twist. It was incredible.
Oh my god,
some good stuff, Lindsay. You know, but it was a good cast. I mean, it's fun. You have some early people that went that you got to see again, which was fun. But then we get to our immunity challenge, the hands on the idol classic challenge.
Classic.
Longest stand wins. You know, you think again, Mama Kim's not going to be winning this. You probably think like Ethan's going to win this challenge. No, Ethan is the first out. And then Lex dropping, giving Mama Kim J immunity for the second time. This woman is on fire. What are your guys' thoughts, Mari, with Kim winning again?
I'm glad she won, but Ethan, did we kind of step off there? Did we? Because honestly, he was in a Richard Hatch situation.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Lex was going to take him. Kim was going to take him. If he won, he would have had to make the choice. And I think his morality would have wanted him to choose Lex, but I know he knows he wouldn't have been able to beat Lex. So honestly, it was perfect for him that he fell. So that's why I'm kind of like, or maybe he just wasn't trying as hard.
Oh, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, it's Richard Hatch. It's like that Mike Boogie moment where it's like, you both have to pick me. Sam, do you agree?
Yeah, I think he knew that he was going to the end. And I just want to say, like, I love this challenge. Like, I really wish that this was something that Survivor has kept, like, would have kept through the years. Australian Survivor, they do this challenge at the final 3 every season. And it still works, like, in a modern format. It's, like, really thrilling to me. And the fact that really anyone can win, it's not some big obstacle course, it's not some big puzzle, or it's not a ball rolling through something that's just not really exciting to me. I love the idea of endurance being the final challenge here on Survivor. I feel like it's a fair playing field and there is strategy to it, like stepping up. And I do think Ethan would have been taken by either person. He knew that. And I just love that Kim J wins. Like, this to me is, I mean, of all the things, when I first watched Survivor Africa, I had to say I was quite underwhelmed by Ethan Zahn's game here. Like, there's not much to really sink your teeth into. And I was very pleasantly surprised by Kim J because I had never even really heard the name Kim J before. And I mean, we'll get to the vote later. We'll get to Tribal Council. But I think to me, Ethan is, of all of the Ethan performances, this is the least exciting and the least kind of juicy of all the. He's barely in the season. Like, he's barely there. I don't know Ethan after this. Like, everything I know about Ethan are things that came after this season. You know, soccer,
that's true.
Charity, it's all things that came after Africa. And I guess he was really liked at the time because he's a cute guy and like that's not it. There's nothing else to him. He really is just like there for most.
He's nice. Yeah.
Honestly, Sam, I just said this in like the last episode. How I thought about this is that Ethan of the 4 is the weakest, I think, strategically. You have Mama Kim, who actually played a great strategic game. You have Tom, which was, we don't like him. He did have strategy in him. And we also had Lex, who was the king of strategy. Ethan kind of just rode coattails.
He did. And I do like the final endurance challenge, but I think the reason why it's just it wouldn't play as well in like modern American Survivor, it's because it's not about survival anymore. Let's be real. They are not like gaunt or dying anymore. Like, they're sitting on a beach in Fiji eating everything. To me, it's just totally different. It's in
Australian Survivor, like, it lasts a lot longer because they are more fed. And I just don't think Jeff wants to sit through a long challenge anymore. Like, the other hosts on these other shows are willing to actually sit through a long challenge, and Jeff just doesn't have the patience for it anymore. I just hate how in modern Survivor these final challenges are like the ball one or something. They're over in like 2 minutes. Like, they're over so fast.
Right, all the Survivor challenges now are just repetitive. They're all like same. There's no like theme to them.
There's
It's
never
just,
like some of our favorite endurance challenges they don't do anymore.
They don't. Bring them back.
Even the ball thing, it's only to be the final challenge, just to also pick 2 people to do fire making. So it doesn't even really matter. So yeah, that's true. They should redo that end game.
I want an old school season that has no twist, and it's called Back to Basics. That's what they should do, and I bet you people would watch it and tune in. I would. Maybe Here's an example of a twist you could do, okay? The immunity idol that you get, you can give away right up until when the votes are read, like a hidden immunity idol, and make that the twist, and nothing else. Keep it 2 tribes, no tribe swaps. Keep it old school. I would like to see it.
I liked what they were doing when they were putting time limits on the advantages. That's what I like. If you're gonna put 20 million idols in, make it a 2 tribal idol. Make it. I liked that way more than we know that all of them expire at final 6 and get advantage get in, and then we get Suri going. Like I like that whole. It's good for 2 tribals.
Yeah,
and not even 2 tribals that you go to. 2 tribals. Period.
Oh
like, yeah. That's what I want. If we're gonna do that, just let's have a time.
Exactly.
There are 2 things that I really want Modern Survivor. It'll never happen, but I think the best thing that was Survivor had going for in its early seasons was a 7-person jury and a final 2. It had final 3s are the worst thing that has ever happened to Survivor, in my opinion. And the large juries are just add to the levels of it. Just always ends up being unanimous because there's no point in splitting your vote when there is 12 other people on the jury. Whereas back here at Final 7, if you split your vote, you can get 2, maybe one other person, 2 other people to come with you, and you really could swing an entire game to who you want to win. And a final 2 just results in so much more high variance in terms of who ends up there. Like people like Jenna winning Amazon. Ethan wouldn't probably win this season.
Yeah, there's so many if there was a third person. You're right, because Lex would have won Africa, I think. Rob Sesternino would have won Amazon. Like it would have. The list goes on. Like would have Sandra won? Would have Johnny Fairplay beat Sandra in Pearl Islands? I don't think so.
I don't know, but it would have changed probably the whole strategy too, as who actually makes it to the final 3 versus the final 2. Yeah. And I mean, to me, it's not interesting. The final 3 is not interesting at all because at least one person always ends up with not getting any votes. And so it's like, what's the point of even having a final 3, just to have one person drag 2 people that cannot win? Like a final 2 is just so much more high variance because you could really do that thing where it's like, I don't like you, so I'm voting against you. Whereas in the final 3, that's just not an option.
Very true. So
and I'm sorry, but spring it on a final 2 on Suri when like in Micronesia.
Right? Yeah. Are you kidding?
The final 3, like, are you kidding? Like, consistent, or like introducing the final 3 when Ozzy was the final 3 in Cook Islands, like Jeff. He's like final 2 this year. Final 3 this year.
Like, seriously, why? That's it. So when we get to Micronesia finale, you're coming on for that because people just
it's too painful. It's too painful.
I can't even talk about it because I'm going to go way off subject. And Suri, like, I'm still bitter about that. Like,
right.
Okay. So Kim gets to vote at tribal council. She has a sole vote as she won immunity, and she decides to vote out Lex. I don't know if that was the best decision for her game. I think that Kim could have beaten Lex potentially over Ethan. I think it was like a Colby Donaldson situation again. So if it's Kim versus Lex, Kim gets Kelly's vote. Kim gets T-Bird's vote because T-Bird didn't trust Lex. T-Bird was closer. Default gets Frank's vote as well. And then she would just need one more. Would it be Kim Powers going, would Kim Powers go with T-Bird? It would be up in the air. Well, Brandon would probably vote for Lex.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Okay. So Kim would be like, yes, we don't know what Kim would do, but it would be closer. Kim would have a better chance against Lex than she would against Ethan.
I don't know about that. I think what Kim said in the reunion about, I think she was going to lose to either one. I think T-Bird has said before that she would vote for Lex versus Kim J in a final 2.
Really?
Yeah.
And then obviously Brandon, I think all guys vote for Lex, including Ethan, Tom, Frank. So I feel like she honestly may have had a better chance against Ethan, but we'll never know.
Yeah, we will never know. But yeah, Lex goes, and we get to our final tribal. So we go right into that final tribal count. So there's some stuff at the beach, but it happens every season. It's the same thing. Oh, let's burn all the stuff and whatever. I'm skipping that part.
Cross off the calendar.
Okay, cross off the calendar, and let's get on to final tribal. So we expect going into it that our Suhawk award is obviously going to be Kelly Goldsmith. We know it's coming, guys. She's bitter, so let's see what happens. We get to opening speeches. Kim's opening speech is pretty humble, shows that she is an older woman and made it to the end, and everyone made her feel young, and thank you for making me feel young, using that to her advantage, playing that card. Good for Kim. We get Ethan setting goals to go home with, his integrity, and that good, honest people can go far in the game. Lord, I don't know. That's what I said too. I was like, it's not about good versus evil. It's about who plays the best game. Okay.
Exactly.
What are your guys' thoughts on opening speeches? Mario, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I think that's the only card Ethan has to play. He had to play, I'm the good guy. I didn't lie to anybody. I stuck with my alliance. That, like we said, he was pretty invisible for the season. He didn't really make strategic moves. I think the only strategic move he made was targeting Clarence after the merge, even though he wanted him gone before that. So I other than that,
I think was a mistake at the time.
Me too. Giving up your people to putting you guys into a position where you then had to rely on Brandon, and then you screw Brandon. Anyway, yeah. So that was the only thing that Ethan could rely on. Kim, she did a great job. I think being emotional, touching to emotions, that really helped her connect to the other Kim. Yeah, Kim Powers. Yeah, yeah. So I think her opening statements were good. Everything after that.
Okay. First, we get to Brandon's question. Brandon asks, which person with the final 2 rep wants sitting next to them, and which doesn't deserve to sit in the final 2?
Yeah.
So Ethan, so I'll go to Kim J first. Kim J says Lex, and she said Tom doesn't deserve to be there. And I think that was smart of her to say Tom doesn't deserve to be there, because she wasn't getting his vote anyway.
Yep.
Ethan saying Ethan said Lex as well. And then for the person that least deserves to be there, he says Brandon. Sings him on his own question.
Yeah.
What a horrible answer, y'all. Come on. Are you serious?
Yeah.
What? But if that was me, I'd be like, seriously, dude, you just lost my vote. No question. So,
like you said, and the funny thing is, he pointed out that Brandon might be the vote that he needed. I thought he before they went into tribal council, he said, I think I might need Brandon's vote. But I think Ethan again was just trying to be honest, and I think he, I would have probably did the same thing, because I would have thought, I wouldn't want you to think I'm kissing your butt, because I don't think that butt kissing really works, which is why Kim's answer, I think Lex should be sitting here. Girl, don't say that. You had the decision to sit next to Lex or Ethan. So saying it should have been Lex just makes you look, it undermines everything. Yeah. So it makes it look like you're placating or you're playing up to him, and it doesn't come off truthful, because if you really wish you were sitting next to Lex, then you would have been sitting next to Lex. So I don't know why she went that route at all. And I thought that was the very first moment she stepped in it.
Very nice, Emma. What's your thought on that?
Oh, I just love Ethan flaming Brandon. This is probably my favorite Ethan moment of the entire season, to be honest. It is shady. Knowing that Brandon went in set on voting for Ethan. And I guess Ethan was, I don't know. I guess he thought he needed Brandon's vote, but then he should have known that by saying that to Brandon's such an emotional player. He is truly just someone that is motivated by his own feelings and his own popularity. He is not someone that has ever put game before his own feelings. I think Ethan should have gone and said Kelly just because she was the first person. Like, just say something stupid, like, you know. And yeah, I think it was an amazing moment, but it was really poor tribal council, I think, on both of their parts. I think they both kind of messed this question up.
I agree. So that was Brandon's. Next we get to Lex. He asks, what is the first selfless act they're going to do? Kim mentions the Samba Project and like helping out with the Africa AIDS and HIV patients, which was a huge deal. I loved that reward watching it. It was such a rewarding one. And that was my favorite reward. One of them that they've ever done. I thought it was really cool.
This was a great season for those rewards.
The rewards were so cool. And like going, like getting like a safari and like seeing wildebeest being attacked by lions, and then also going to the village and playing hacky sack with the village children. It's so cool. Like, I love that.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then you had Ethan wanting to set up an inner city soccer league, which he has, and it's grassroots soccer, which is a really cool program that he has. So he actually did that.
And I was a little, he said inner city soccer. I was like, ugh, like,
is that what it is though? Like, I think that's what it is though. Like, it teaches.
It is, but it's that comes from a long line of white savior movies that had been produced. So some people tend to think the way to give back is to go to the inner city. But I mean,
that felt very 2000s to me. That was like so 2000.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, I just had to laugh at it. I mean, his intentions were clearly pure, and we know that. Especially we know that now. But I just had to laugh at that for a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Survivor.
I get that. I was like, that's definitely a 2001 comment. Not today. But yeah, that was cool. I just thought it was cool because it did come to life, and he still has it with grassroots. So
amazing.
Definitely sending out that plug to his charity. Next we have Frank's, which I'm just gonna skip because that one was stupid.
I will say, it was funny to see them have to think of 5 adjectives. They really were struggling. They're just intelligent. They were really
I haven't eaten a full meal in 39 days, sir. I can't think of grammar or vocabulary right now.
I did a lot of things. That's a lot of things.
Yes, 5, not even 3. It was 5.
Amazing. I was just looking at really. Then we get to the queen, Kelly Goldsmith. She thanks them for voting out Lex. She thanks Kim. Thank you for sending him and bringing him to the jury house. She says,
Walk of shame.
She says, if you think this is with high integrity, don't flatter yourself. Woof. She tells Ethan he didn't make a relationship with him. And then she asks them, she's like, it's up in the air, pick a number 1 to 1,000. She's pulling the Greg Buis line, pick a number 1 to 10. But this one has some strategy behind it because she actually had a number.
Yeah, right.
So Ethan picks 3. No, Ethan picks 888. Kim picks 3, and we'll find out who got the vote.
Mm-hmm.
What are your guys' thoughts on Kelly G and her game? Mari, go first.
When I tell you, Kelly was funny. She didn't really stand out to me until the merge happened, and then all that stuff. I was like, oh wow, she has a mouth on her, But I like her. At first I thought it was a little ridiculous. I thought it was a little ridiculous, but then when she was talking about in the reunion, she wanted to just be able to represent a full person, and then to see that she was also a behavioral analyst. I liked it. I did. I liked it. She never fit into a villain category. Like she said, she never fit into a savior or damsel category. She really was just a person, and she was funny. And I didn't blame her for any of that.
She reminds me of is Eliza Orleans. Eliza. She reminds me of
Eliza. Big fan.
Eliza, Eliza is like Kelly on with a lot of caffeine. Eliza is next level.
I'm running for district attorney of New York City, everybody. Vote for Eliza. You live in New York. But yeah, so we get to our next one, Kim Powers, who they learned the most and least from.
This is emotional.
Kim says the most from T-Bird and the least from Kelly. And Kim says she learned the most from from Kim Powers because of her ending her engagement, which we find out about, and the least from Tom again. She's continuing to pick on Tom. Good move, Kim Johnson. I love it. I'll go to Big Tom asking a stupid question about a hyena.
I did not understand a thing about this. Like, I literally could not understand this. What? Like, what was he saying?
Go home, forget you, goodbye. Okay, like
ridiculous.
I no.
What was he looking for here? I don't know.
I don't know. He was looking for a bottle of bourbon because the man was drunk. Okay. We all saw the reward. Okay. We all saw the bottle of bourbon that was taken for the entire trip. Right? Going on a hot air balloon, I'm going to drink more. Good for him.
Yeah.
T-Bird she asked if there's anything they want to take back that they said. Kim regrets the situation with Kelly. Ethan regrets the same situation, thinking it was from Frank, which was a random thing right there.
Ethan looked so eye roll. I could not with that answer.
I didn't understand it at all.
This, and even though I didn't accuse him, I regret even thinking. And I'm just like, oh my god.
I didn't get it. But yeah, so they go to vote. There's two that kind of stood out for me. We have Tom's vote for Kim, berating her, like being like sexist in his vote. Like I was just like, another one from Tom. Here we go again. I was just like, I was the eye roll to the max. I'm just over this guy. I've been over him for a while. And then we have Kelly. Kelly had a fun one. She's like, 568 room. I love The Graduate. It's my favorite movie. I loved that. It's very
quote. The whole quote.
She gave the whole quote.
Yeah, that's one of my husband's favorite movies too. And so I was like, at first I was like, wait, hold up. And I was like, oh, okay, I see you. That was pretty fun. And again, that goes back to your whole two-person thing. Like, this vote could have been the swing vote. And it's just so much more powerful when you have just two people and just 7 votes. So it could have gone either way, and it could have been the winner could have been decided on the movie The Graduate. So that's amazing. Yeah. And
you have Brandon, who obviously is voting for Kim. But at the end of the day, guys, our winner is Ethan. Vote of 5-2. So Ethan comes out victorious. I think we all saw it coming. He was really likable. People loved him. He was adorable. He was starting to grow some dreadlocks from that hair that was starting to go. It was like starting to dread out. It was really cute. But what are your guys' thoughts on Ethan, victorious winner? Sam, I'll start with you on that.
I mean, for him to be the first, he's the first winner that didn't win by 4-3. So he won by more than just like one vote. There's just nothing to him. I don't know. Like, in terms of if I had to rank the winner so far, Ethan would be 3 out of 3, and I feel like he will stay down there in the bottom for the entire ranking. I don't really enjoy Ethan until we see him in All Stars and then Winners at War. This Ethan is really just kind of like an empty vessel, and I think it's really interesting because we've seen female winners similar to Ethan, like Michelle maybe, that just get absolutely ripped apart. And I think there is some major sexism that goes into the fact that well, Ethan is just like a likable guy, so obviously he's gonna win. And like,
or Natalie White.
Exactly. Oh, what did she even do? Nothing. Ethan did nothing.
Nothing. Like, Russell should have won that season, y'all.
Yeah,
but I like Natalie as a winner. Like, there is no curriculum as to how someone should win Survivor.
At the end of the day, these people won, and Ethan deserved his win. He won. He deserved it. But I will say, like, he got away with something that some people can't get away with, and I don't think that's fair, truthfully. So,
and that's Sam's point. We look at Ethan and we say, "Oh, okay, he was nice. He deserved his win." And then we look at Natalie White and be like, "Yo, what the mess?" But like, and then or we go back and then like Tommy and IOI, they say he won using a very old school Survivor game. He used his social good. They heaped all this praise on him when Michelle did the exact same thing. I mean, she had a little bit of the advantages, but nothing. She won for her social game. She was ripped to shreds. Like, Sam brings up a great point. Like, we really gotta be careful when we're evaluating these winners, because Survivor in itself, Jeff has just recently admitted, it's soaked in misogyny.
Yeah, like the edit wants you to be woo, like Ethan won, like what a nice, great guy. And like I know if I was sitting on that jury, I would not have voted for Ethan, but I'm just always more inclined to like have a female winner. And the fact that here's the thing, KJ, she is an old woman. I really wish she had leaned into that more in her final speeches. And she won those final 2 challenges to get her in that final 2. Like that is a big deal for someone of her age against a group of really fit guys. And like really mentally strong guys, for her to get there, like that is not nothing, you know.
I think she stood a chance. She could have won. I think
and I think part of that is the fact that Tina had just won and there was such blowback that oh my god, Colby should have won. Like of course Colby should have won. I think there was like I just don't think they would have allowed like another kind of older female that was a little more laid back to win against like, oh my god, the hot guy that everyone is in love with. You know, I think that was never going to happen back to back.
That is such an unfair comparison to Tina, though, because from what I remember, she was definitely a strategist and in the driving seat, and Kim is just a level below that. But
I agree. I totally agree. There's a reason why Tina won and Kim J did not.
I love Kim because she seems like that like New England woman who just is gonna go have brunch every Sunday with her brunch gals. Like I just
what is brunch? What is brunch?
Girl, who doesn't know what brunch is? Come on.
Are you telling me it's a combination of breakfast and lunch? What do you eat there? I was like, they are not explaining brunch to this old man. Oh my god.
All right. Well, that completes like the episode portion. Now we're gonna get to our superlatives, which I'd love to do every season. So we're gonna start with everyone's top player of the season. So Sam, who was your top player? Doesn't have to necessarily be the winner. Who is your top player of the season?
I am going to give it to T-Bird. I think like to me, Lex is someone who is extremely overrated as a player. I just think that Lex is to me is a better character than he is a player, hands down. Lex has the god, you know, what am I looking for? I can't even speak. He has he just thinks he is the boss of everything. And I think a lot of that game really escaped out from under him. He really was in a great position and just did not get to the end. And I think, you know, if we look back at why the other tribe didn't was victorious, and it really was just from a series of really unfortunate circumstances. It was a really bad game of telephone, and I really do think a lot of the better players were on Samburu, and I think T-Bird is one of those players that she really did scrape every round to try to survive, and I think she's someone who one of the only players that I think you could put in a modern season and I think could actually do well, whereas a lot of these old players just do not have the drive it takes to win Survivor. And so I'm going to go with T-Bird as my top player.
Great choice. And I think she probably could have won if Samburu made it to the end. So I agree. Yeah. Mari, who's your choice for a top pick?
I of course have to go with Lex. I agree with everything Sam said about T-Bird, but Lex was like the pre-Rob Mariano before Rob Mariano. He was the godfather. He was able to make people follow him. He also was good at having a number 2, Big Tom, and then their number 3, and people felt like they had to follow them. I agree with Sam. They almost let it go when they got rid of Clarence and Kelly, especially Kelly on some really dumb stuff.
Yeah, like it was on Lex's own witch hunt that really made the whole thing go live.
And that's the reason that was a bad game move. But you have to give it to Lex. He's the one who secured it by flipping Brandon to their side. So he undid a mess that he created. But the fact that he was able to do that, to undo it, you have to give it to him. Like Brandon, that was just a dumb move, and it
was horrible.
It changed the course of the game. It changed the course of the game.
But
Lex made him do it. Lex made him comfortable enough to do it. So I'll give it to Lex. I think I can see that he's definitely very overrated. I could agree with that. But out of the people who were left after the merge, I think he was playing the best top game, and T-Bird was definitely playing the best bottom game.
Okay. I agree with you on Lex, Mari. That's who I would choose as well. So Lex is definitely my top player. I think that that game was his. I think he was that player. He was the Richard Hatch of the season. I think he really controlled most of the things that was happening.
Yeah.
So I give him props for that. I definitely also think T-Bird, though I think both are great, but I got to give it to Lex. He had the upper hand. So Lex would be mine for top player. Next would be our hottest guy of the season. So I'm going to start with this one. I have two. It's a tie between Clarence and Silas. So it's like a mesh of both of them together. Like if they were like combined into one person, it would be like the hottest guy ever. Mara, who's your choice?
That's exactly what I put. I said Silas / Clarence, like the both of them. Silas was really cute. Is he officially like the first person who's been swap screwed or no?
Yes, he was the first swap screwed contestant. Yes.
Yeah, that was rough. But that was very smart of Ethan. That was another move for them to throw that challenge and get rid of him, knowing that they had the numbers and their tribe members on the other side didn't. That was actually very, very smart. Silas was so cute. I don't know how smart he was, but he was amazing to look at. Yes. And he knew it. Yes. Clarence as well. Clarence is very built, like gorgeous. They made him show the abs at the reunion.
Yes, they did.
So just from looks, both of them, yeah, definitely.
Sam, who would you say?
Well, I'd have to go with Frank. Just kidding. It'd be Clarence. To me, Silas kind of freaks me out. Like there's something like con man that he gives me like major con man vibes that like really kind of scare me. So Clarence is, I will never forget that image of him. I guess it was the SOS challenge of him and his like tidy whities.
Yes.
Oh, that was for the gays. That was for
yes,
us.
Yes, it was for the gays. Clarence is a beautiful man. He knows it. I mean, he's from Detroit. He lives probably right near me, so I should hit him off. No, I'm kidding. I'm sure his wife would be still happy.
That's hilarious.
All right, so we mainly agree on hottest guy. Okay, we'll say Clarence is the hottest. All three of us say Clarence, so we're good. All right, so our most fierce queen. I know who Sam's going to say, so we're going to wait till the end on that one. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Sam, go first. Just say her. Come on.
My fierce queen is Lindsay Richter, period. She is one of the best characters in Survivor history. When I went through and watched Survivor Africa for the first time, I said, who is this girl? I have never even heard of her. She really did do the most. She talked about her period from the first day, and then from that point on, she was firing on all cylinders. She was. I just love a contestant that really will go in there and just like act a fool. And it was for us. And at the time, she was hated, but now I think we could shower her with praise and love.
Yeah.
And deserves to be back on the show. I think if someone deserves a second chance to this day, I would love to see her back as as a 40-something adult now and slay this game.
I know she really struggled with her edit. She really struggled with how she was perceived for years after the show, and just thinking that she came across just so poorly. And to me, it's just so funny, and I just love everything that she says and everything about her. And I really wish that she would be remembered as someone who was just a great character. And I really do want her to come back one day. She's gorgeous still. I really want her to come back.
We all do. Mari, who's yours?
I have Kelly. I thought at first I was like, what is going on with her? But just those last few episodes, she had me gagged. She had me gooped. I love the reunion. So I like Kelly. I put Kelly. Linda is a close second. The moment she came out there and said "Mother Africa," I was like, yes, thank you, Linda. Thank you.
Linda was missing some screws though.
I loved it. I
love her.
Yeah. After they voted off the one dude started with the C. I forget his name. Carl. And then she said her piece to them in the craziest way possible. I was like, girl, next. But that was so funny.
Play nicely.
I want a hug from Linda. You know she gives the best hug.
Yes.
What's your mama number? Amazing. There's so many. I'm gonna choose two. I'm gonna choose Lindsay and T-Bird. I think both were
great,
incredible, for different reasons. I think T-Bird played an amazing game, as you were saying earlier, Sam. Lindsay is just I've loved Lindsay for like 20 years, and to be able to interview Lindsay is like, I know some people want to meet Lady Gaga or the president. Or our fabulous vice president. Some people want that. I would love to meet them as well because I love them. But mine is like Lindsay from Survivor and Danielle Reyes from Big Brother. So
oh my God,
I got to meet Lindsay. So like Danielle Reyes, I'm going to try and call you too. We meet to Big Brother. Okay. I do follow your podcast with Jason. So, but those, I got to interview Lindsay, and that was just so cool to sit and talk to Lindsay. It was awesome. So definitely Lindsay's up there in T-Bird for me on that. Next would be our legends and icons. So this could be a person, this could be a place, a thing, anything. So I'm gonna go first with my legends and icons. I have three. I have Kim Johnson's swollen legs and her almost swollen breasts, because I love how she said, wait till they get to my breasts. That's my first one. We have the hoagie that made T want to slap her mama. And my third legend icon would be the Sam Brew watering hole, because was it a watering hole or was it just a dump of animal dung? So those are my three. Mari, what are your three legends and icons?
So of course I put Mother Africa, because Mother Africa stayed on their neck the whole time they was there. The elephants, the lions, the desert, the heat. We miss out so much with Survivor not traveling anymore. Other than missing out on all of the cultural representation, we miss them having to struggle with different climates. And that was never more apparent than rewatching Africa. I'm so used to watching people sit on an island. It's so interesting to watching them in a boma now, So definitely I have to give it to Mother Africa. I have to also give it to the can of beans that Clarence and Diane shared. Will we ever know who asked to open those beans? We will never know. But I do think it sent the season on a trajectory that was only going to end one way. And then finally, just regular T-Bird, because I just haven't given her flowers yet. She was such a calming presence, in the storm. No matter what was happening, I just love listening to her talk. I love listening to what she was saying. I would more T-Bird. I mean, we got a lot of it. If you listen to her hat, but I just thought she was such a great presence. Maybe not the biggest character, but just such a great presence in this season.
Absolutely, I agree on all three. Sam, who are your legends and icons?
I'm gonna piggyback off of that. T-Bird as a person is just one of my all-time faves. I think I will never get over what they did to her in Cambodia. That season to me never recovered from her not getting on that cast, and it hurts my soul to think about how the fact that she could have come back and she was not voted in by some stupid metric. I would have to say the hunters that guarded their camp at night, they are icons. They kept all these people alive.
Lions out of their camp.
Security. That was iconic of them. And third, I would have to give it to, oh my gosh, I'll just give Africa another shout out. Just say I love the season. I wish they did more in Africa. And the setting is just amazing. I know that they were never able to really get away from each other because of the nature of their camp. But I really do wish Survivor would just really commit to different locations. And they still won't. Even with COVID, they say, no, we're going to wait till Fiji allows us back in, and we will not leave, period. And I just feel like this is when the show was just really experimenting with music, with challenges. And that was iconic. And that is what I would miss most about early Survivor.
Very nice. Good choices, everyone. Well, that concludes our episode for today. We had so much fun. Mar, you're amazing. I want you again. You need to come back.
I will come back. Yes.
You're incredible. All right, where can our viewers and guests find you on social media?
Okay, so you can always follow me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. I always say 2 like the number 2. I'm also the host of the Wrestling Wrap Up every week. We should drop on Sundays every week, and so that's me and my co-host Matt Scott, another class of 2020er. We go over the the highlights of the week in wrestling, all of WWE. We try to touch on some of like AEW Impact, and we always say that it's if you're not a fan of wrestling, if you're a lapsed fan of wrestling, or you're a wrestling expert part of the IWC, like we try and make it so inclusive for everybody to understand wrestling. So please just go on ahead and click over there. You'll find us on your Wrap Ups feed on iTunes or anywhere you get your podcast, and just check us out because it's really fun. And we're going to be doing the series is the Road to WrestleMania, so it's the lead up to WrestleMania in April.
Amazing. That sounds like so much fun. Sam, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Letterboxd at Sam Henson 24. One more quick thing. I just want to give a shout out in the reunion. There are 2 things that are really iconic. One is Ethan Zorn, and then the second is Lindsay's audition video. Period. I just have to get those comments in. That was iconic.
Lindsay's audition video where she is butt-ass naked on a bike with paints. Okay.
Going out of Africa talking about Lindsay Richter, my favorite thing in the world. So
amazing.
It's been a pleasure, Josh.
All right.
I was like, did he say Ethan Zorn? Like, I
was Brian Gumbel, that is why he is no longer hosting the reunion. Then we get next season with Rosie O'Donnell. Let's not even go there yet.
I can't wait.
Everybody's getting a car. Okay, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Mendelson8. You can find the Couch Potato Queens on Twitter at Couch Potato Queens. That's Couch Potato QWNC, or our Facebook group, the Couch Potato Queens Podcast. We are streaming everything, everybody. We have our Survivor. We have Survivors that we're interviewing coming up. We have a Bravo podcast coming up with me and Sam. We have Big Brother during the summer. We have a Bachelor podcast. RuPaul's Drag Race on Friday nights. We have Drag Race. So like, subscribe. Give us your comments and your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. And always remember to outwit, outlast, and outgay Henny. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.